The individual bridge that you're seeing here on a prototype, that it's common one-piece bridge. What does the individual bridge do that it's common one-piece bridge where everything is common together? And yeah, what is the difference? And how does it make the guitar or bass a better sounding instrument? Well, it was strange, but that was the first thing I ever put on my touch tapping type instrument, because I had to separate the strings. I also had to stop the crosstalk that was happening between strings, on especially the bass notes. So what I did was and I'll bring the bass, I'll show you the bridge itself right now, just to show you something. The individual bridge that you're seeing here on a prototype guitar I built. Now, I built this guitar when I was actually building Ibanez guitars because I wanted to, not copy, but just have that same neck and a few things that I wanted to test out. But you see the individual bridge, if you're looking from the end, I'll make it real quick here because we want to just show this. They separate completely from each other and they go clear through the body. This makes a big difference because when you put them all the way through, you get the real contact with the wood, and you also have more area to disperse that crosstalk and get that string to be an individual item. Now, these bridges will lose about 60%, sometimes more, of all the crosstalk, maybe even up to 70, 80% if you're not playing like a wild man, like many of us do. They have the fine tuners, they have the coarse tuners, the fine tuners, and if you notice on this end, they actually have the regular tuners. So you have three ways to tune this bass, and that's what the individual bridges let you do, because it lets you have this system, the other system. We build all of our necks too, just as a little extra thing. We build them with 5 laminates so that they're strong. We have the tension-free area so that the neck does not push on this fingerboard and cut down on sustain, because when you compress wood, it doesn't sustain like it does and hold the tone or the vibration like it would if it was compressed. So we put a tension-free neck, which is adjustable and takes all that off. Enough of that. The individual bridges have always proven to me over the years to be the only way I can play a double neck guitar or a touch guitar or just the bridges themselves. I sell those to customers because they say to me, God, I get this, my bridge just doesn't produce a clean sound. And the minute they put this on their guitars, the end of bridges, they write back to me and say, wow. In fact, we have comments on Bunker Guitars. We have a page, and many of those comments are on the clarity of what those bridges actually do for our guitars. So to answer your question about the fact of whether they how they improve a guitar sound. They improve it because they make the string quicker to react. They cut some of the sound that comes from one string reacting to the other string. And so basically, overall, they just give you more tone and sustain and a better sound on your guitar.
But I want to tell you the story how after 10 years entertaining as a band, as a 5-piece combo, and getting this pretty good clubs, my brother was in Alaska. It was really crazy. I had thought, oh, we're ready for Vegas. I mean, we're doing great numbers. People are enjoying it at the clubs. And I had this one agency, Wally McDonald, that was watching me, but from a club. But this is kind of a shortcut away from this. My brother in Alaska, was a big old wild crazy logger cutter. I mean, he cut all the with his crews of people, cut the right of ways to clean the logging and made the right of ways for power into Juneau and Ketchikan and those type towns up in Alaska. And one day he was sitting at the Red Dog Saloon with his crew. They'd flown in on helicopters because that's the way they took them in and out. They'd pick them up in the first of the day early, and then they'd go get them at night and bring them in and drop them off again in one of those towns. But they were sitting in the Red Dog Saloon, which, believe it or not, is one of the most famous taverns in the world. It's classified as one of the top so many. And they were sitting there at this round table and with beer bottles and jugs stacked up halfway to the ceiling. And he had 7 workers that worked for it, and they always smelled like an old chainsaw. Their pants were cut off. I won't put my leg up there to show you, but their pants were cut off clear up to their knees practically, and they smelled like oil in a chainsaw. But all of a sudden, there this guy walks in, big old tall guy in a black suit, and looked like about a $5,000 suit. I mean, I found out later it was. And he had a woman on each hand, a beautiful blonde on each arm. And he walked in and sat up at the bar, and Alan says to his crew, he says, "Look at that old S." And I won't use his language because that wouldn't be good in the show, but he uses a lot of explicit, so I'll pass up on those. He said, "Look at that old blankety blank with 2 women, and I got none, and you ugly old such and such is another blank, blank, blank." He said, "I'm going to go over and ask him what he's doing in Alaska." And the guys say, "Oh, Alan, Bunker, don't do that. Bunker, don't do that." And he's, "Nope, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to see what he's doing up here, ask him why he's got 2 beautiful women." And, well, they'd been drinking, so you imagine he was a little probably over the top. And so he goes over and hits him on the back, this guy that's sitting on the chair in a big old black suit. Businessman, you can tell he was a businessman. And the guy looked shocked and turned around, and he says, "Well, I'm Bill Green, and I'm up here on business." He says, "I'm up here on business." And he says, "This is my wife," as calm as could be. "And this is my wife." This is what they tell me. And Bill Green told me later. He said, "This is my wife, and this is her sister." He says, "Join us. I'll buy you drinks, buy you around." So he bought the bands just what they didn't need. Alan partied with them in Alaska. Just they're crazy. They said, "Why don't you go?" And got to know them very well. And about the first week, it was just about a week. And Bill asked Alan, he says, "Do you have a brother that plays music and has a band in Washington?" And Alan was a little shocked by it. And Alan says, "Yes." He said, "That's my brother David. He's got a nice little band putting together in Washington." And Bill says to him, he says, our booking agent from that area, Wally McDonald, has been mentioned that to me and has been watching that band. He says, and it was kind of weird. I mean, out of the sky, you meet a guy like that in Alaska, and on the spot, here's the guy that knows, that owns half of the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. And so he said, "Wait till you tell Carolyn Barrett, my entertainment director at the Golden Nugget, that when he feels he's ready with his band, you tell him to call Carolyn." I called and talked to Carolyn Barrett, and I said, "Carolyn, Bill," and Bill's already mentioned it. She says, "So is Wally." She says, "I've already got a spot if you want it." And so she set me up for a 6-week spot. And we worked there for 10 years off and on. Every 6 to 8 weeks, we were at the Golden Nugget. And what a place. I mean, it was the Whale and the Merle Haggard, the Johnny Paycheck, the Everly Brothers. Oh my gosh, Barbara Mandrell, you couldn't name a country group that wasn't at the Golden Nugget. But it was amazing what you learned and the beauty and the ugliness that you saw in people. It was sad. I don't call ugliness in the way of the people. They were sweet, good, talented, very talented people, but some of their habits got to them after a while and hurt them badly. But it was a real education in life to just get to work with those people and know those people and spend time with them. It was a gift from God that all of you should have, because it's that important. Thank you for asking. I'm sorry to wander off on that deal, but that was a fun time in my life, and it was a fun time. It was a neat experience how that happened. Thank you.